Welcome to the Filmmaker Mixer Podcast, the podcast by filmmakers for filmmakers.
This episode is sponsored by Gemini Crown Tech, software for all of your production needs. Stay tuned for more information later in the show. Hello, everybody. This is the Filmmaker Mixer Podcast, and today we are chatting with a gentleman whose band sold 12,000 copies of their first album out of the trunk of a car, went on to create a huge fan base, shared the stage with The Who, the Allman Brothers, James Taylor. He has not looked back since. We're chatting with Pat McGee from the Pat McGee Band. So, Pat, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm
excited to be here.
I'm excited to chat with you about music and creativity and storytelling through music. But I do want to start with something that I saw in your bio, that you started your career with no plan B. I'm curious, reflecting back on those early days, what motivated you to launch a music career with no other alternative, no plan B? Tell me about that.
God, and I have three daughters. One just graduated college, and a son as well.
So tell them not to listen to this story.
Yeah, two that are in college, and I talk about how they don't, one's going to grad school, one's already taken a social worker job. I'm like, this doesn't have to be your life mission here, that your be all end all. But and I say, well, I didn't have a plan either. I mean, I think we were talking about a friend of theirs that got into Berkeley music school, and I said, well, that's cool and all, but I was a music minor for about 2 minutes in college, and I realized real quick it's not for me. The learning part of it, of the theory and all that, I really was more of like a play 7 nights a week in bars back in the early 90s in college, and just was like, I'm just going to keep going with this. There's no other plan. There's no plan B. And then it didn't occur to me to really write my own songs until I started seeing bands in Virginia that were putting out their own music. I think I thought you had to be signed to a record label to even attempt to write songs. Right. Now kids have YouTube and access to all kinds of other creative means, outlets and things for them. So that's amazing. Like my son's written a ton of songs, and he's freaking 11 years old. So I didn't start till I was 21. And now it's like finding the time, is really the more talking about creativity with what you guys do. It's like, and the thing I'm only jealous of in anyone's career is having more time. So you just want time to be able to scratch that itch, to be more creative. But yeah, there's no plan B. Never has been.
As a filmmaker, I remember the first time I picked up a camera, and it was kind of a magical moment. There's something that happens that you just know this is going to stick with you the rest of your life. I'm curious for you. Do you remember the first time you picked up a musical instrument, and was it a guitar, and what happened?
Good question. I can remember getting a guitar for Christmas, probably because I was playing my brother's guitar. I was 15 and just about turned 16, and I was playing his guitar. He's 4 years older than me. He's left-handed, so I was learning it upside down, which he just kept saying, "Stop doing that. You're going to create all kinds of problems for yourself." And if you ever want to find a left-handed instrument, it's the worst. He's not the guy that you want to bring to the music store with you, because they never have anything he can pick up. It's a bummer. So, I think when he started showing me some chords, and it was I bet if I sat with a therapist, they'd probably say, well, that was probably the first time that you really felt like you and your brother were like almost the same age, even though I was 15 and he was 19 and in college and the cool guy, So that really, I think that probably originally was just like, well, and then we immediately just started playing acoustic gigs for our friends. And I mean, that was within probably a few weeks of learning how to play a Led Zeppelin cover, Eric Clapton cover, a cover by Crosby, Stills and Nash. And I'm like, let's go, off to the races. So,
and were you taking lessons, or were you just self-taught? Or no kidding?
No, I mean, he showed me how to play a G, C, and a D, and maybe an A minor in there, and just kept going with that. It's funny, I took my daughter out to see Dead and Company at the Sphere. Just got back yesterday, and she plays guitar. But she plays a little bit. She's still in the my fingers hurt stage. That means you don't play enough.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't believe John Mayer can play all night. It must kill his fingers. I'm like, no, that's not even a thing. It's not. His back might hurt. Standing like Bob Weir's back might hurt. He's near approaching 80. But your fingers don't hurt. You get past that. So, that's something that I got past. Once I got past that as a 16-year-old, it's like, probably put a nail right through these fingers and I wouldn't even feel it. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember my brother played guitar in those early days. It was like, the blisters and the chapped fingers and all that. And it's something you just have to
Hmm.
go through and get over, I guess. You said you started writing your own songs when you were in your early 20s. Do you remember the first song you wrote?
Yes, because and I have to check my make sure it doesn't hurt my feelings, but it's our most popular song.
Is that right?
It's the one we play every night, the song called Rebecca
Oh, that was
that
your first one.
yeah, my
That's a
first song I
great
ever wrote.
song.
And
No
thank you very
kidding.
much. And Haven't Seen for a While was my second song I wrote. And those are the two
Really?
most popular songs. I mean, I gotta give credit, I guess, to all my influences that like got dumped into those first two songs. So if you like those songs, you probably like James Taylor, you probably like the Allman Brothers, you probably like Eric Clapton. Uh, and they're all hidden in these little first two ideas I came up with.
Well,
Um, yeah.
speaking of those songs and speaking of your influences, um,
Hmm.
everybody has their go-to movie that they watch on a Sunday afternoon or a late story
Right.
night or whatever. People also have their go-to albums. Honestly, one of my go-to albums is Shine. I love that album.
Oh, wow. It's huge. Thank you.
No, I listen to it on a regular basis, when I need a little
Wow.
extra inspiration. So, what's your go-to album when you're a little low or need a little something to lift you up or just want to
Oh,
just chill?
I mean, I would Paul Simon, Graceland.
Oh, good one. Good choice.
Yeah, Neil Young, Harvest Moon.
Oh,
Um,
great, great song.
but yeah, these just take me back to a time when you just press play and you listen to the whole thing,
Right.
which is, pretty much every record that whether it's an early B-52s record or an early Police record or even Jimmy Buffett records that I grew up on that I didn't even know Margaritaville was not just a song on the record. It's just another song that I listened to. And as I got older, and I'm listening to these way before I played guitar, because my sister was living in Florida and she's like, I'm living the life in the Keys and this is what we listen to. I'm like, wow, I didn't know my sister liked country music because she's super into like punk, but something about Buffett is like its own thing in Florida.
Right. Right.
Back in the early days, we're not talking like the greatest hits stuff, you know. Anyway, yeah, those albums just bring me back. Led Zeppelin too. It's not a calming record, but it makes me feel like I should be drinking beers in the back of someone's car in high school.
Yeah, I remember back in the days when you'd listen to the radio and they wouldn't even give you the song name, so you just had to keep listening to try and figure out, what is that song that I love so much?
Right, right. And look,
What?
there's songs that take you in the movies too. You guys are in film. It's just
Yeah.
you think they one of these days, if you know anybody, put my songs in movies. But I always have people I haven't really gone down that path because of time and maybe not the right team on my side at any moment in the career. But I always felt like I had songs that could end up in some sort of this film situation. Uh,
Absolutely.
Still feel that way, and I'm writing, and I love the idea of writing for something. If someone's like, "This is what this is about," that's like that would have scared the crap out of me when I was 20. But now it's like you just made this so much easier. I have a focus of what I'm supposed to write about. That's great. So
Well,
that's
speaking of writing and kind of keeping that movie analogy, when we talk to screenwriters, they finish their first draft and then they do a pass on dialogue
mhm.
or a pass on tone, a pass on you know, plot. What's the process in writing a song? You get an idea. Well,
Right.
I'm going to make this a two-parter. Let's first start here. One of the questions
Sure.
we talk a lot with writers, screenwriters, uh,
Right.
plot first or character first. So in your case as a musician, lyric first, melody first, or is it different for every song?
Um, it's probably a rhythm part first. I don't know if any of these guitars are in tune, but let's see here. Probably not in tune. So I have like a riff, and it'll be a na 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 da na 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 na. Oh, here we are. You go into things like that, and it's just like, all right, well, what is the feeling? What's happening in that mood of that moment? But a lot of times it's a riff. Very, I do come up with phrases. I've a ton of them in my notes on my phone. Thank God for the phone for that one purpose. Um, so I can write like song idea. And if I don't write what I'm really thinking, if I just write, I'm looking at a bed right now. The bed was warm. Like, well, why was the bed warm? What was this? Why is it may mean something to you in the moment, right? When you come up with it and you're like, oh, this is going to be good, but you really should suss that out and write, even if none of it ends up in the song. Like specifically, what were you thinking about when you thought that phrase that everyone else has heard a million times? How does it pertain to what you're talking about? Because if I don't write the rest of that, I'll just go back in my notes and be like, oh, I don't even remember what I was thinking. So,
and is that process looking for an emotion or looking for a story? What are you trying to
yeah,
process in that
I
moment?
think as I get older, you really, when I was younger, I don't think I don't remember being like some emotion. I mean, I was just being really honest. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? You need to get back to that because you didn't know any better. And that's what made Rebecca and Haven't Seen for a while so easy, so relatable, I guess, to people because they're like, oh, I know who that person is. I know who Rebecca is. Even if they don't listen to the words, they think might think it's a positive song. It's not a very positive song. I Haven't Seen for a while is about missing somebody. And, you know, um, yeah, it's like, shouldn't throw that out, shouldn't throw out you know, the elementariness of it all. When working on my 12th album or whatever the hell my next record, I don't even know what number I'm on now, but I'm in the process of writing a new record right now. And it's, you definitely want to tap into an emotion because, I mean, what else is there? I mean, I still think of, myself as sort of a jam musician that writes songs. Um, I love Jackson Browne, but I love the Grateful Dead just as much. So it's like, sort of living that in between, and you want to tap into that emotion. And then maybe I think it's also great to paint a picture specifically. What is it? Sometimes people like vague songs, and those have their place. um Hopeful songs, Let It Be's of the world. But there's also like, if you really can dial into a, hey, this is the scene that's set. This is what the girl was wearing. This is how slow she walked from here to here. This is why she's so sad. This is why she rolled her window down. Blah, blah, blah. You know, I think that's cool.
And once you get a pass on a song done, do you go back and do passes looking for certain elements of the song that might be missing, or I guess I'm trying to figure out what are the
Right.
stages of the creative process?
Yeah. I think once you know, if you have a little melody that's like stuck in your head and you're like, all right, what a great verse. And it's to challenge yourself to be like, all right, or if it's so good that you think it's the chorus, be like, well, maybe that's not the chorus. Maybe there's a better chorus. Don't think like you're done. Don't take the easy way out. Like, is this the best the song can be? Maybe that's just a killer bridge, and write a better chorus. What's the worst that can happen? You don't come up with something, and then you got what you originally thought was a certain part. You can shift parts around. Um, but yeah, it's a tricky thing, and I think with this next record, I really do want to go back to what sounds like a Harvest Moon album, where it's like I hear there's the guitar, there's the bass, there's the drum, there's the piano part, and then there's the one vocal, and that's it. And that's like, because I'm super guilty of, for a guy that doesn't know anything about technology and sitting around tinkering, I don't make demos. So like when I go to make the record, I don't have like some worked up demo I did in my house on my
Really,
computer.
that's interesting.
No, I just go straight in there, and if anything, I can't believe it's been 10 years, but 10 years ago I made a record with the guys who did the early Jackson Browne stuff, and James Taylor, and they're called The Section. They're these four guys who are just, you just show them the song idea and then they go, great, hit record, and then the first take is that it's done. It's, you can add a bunch of icing on that cake, but, and I certainly did, because I wanted to invite more people to the party. I can be guilty of that, being like, oh, what if we did this? What if we added this? What if we did that? And it brought a lot. I mean, but I would do wonder what they would have sounded like if it was just the raw thing.
Right.
Because all those records those guys did, if you listen to an early Carole King or Linda Ronstadt record, you just hear like four things,
Yeah.
and an incredible vocal, and a great song to begin with, and then go from there. So yeah, that's the goal for the next one. Simplify some things.
When you write a song, you live with it. It becomes a part of you.
Right.
And I'm curious, have you ever written a song or performed it in a certain way that it actually changed something in you, maybe your perspective of songwriting or your perspective of performing? Or I guess what I'm really asking is, have you ever written a song that impacted you really more profoundly than maybe another song?
Um, for sure, I have songs that I've written about people that I've known that have passed away. Our own drummer, who I started writing a song a certain way called "Come Back Home" about military uh, troops that I met while I was in Greenland on a USO tour, and I couldn't believe the sacrifices people were making. So I started writing a song about them, and then Chris passed away a few months after I started writing that song, and sort of switched the whole song into, because Chris was also in the military prior to being in the band, so it still sort of worked. And so I put him in there, and then very long story, but Chris's little brother took this final version, this recorded song that we had, "Come Back Home," and he was in Iraq. He's much younger than Chris, and he was over in Iraq, and he was playing this song to no end, missing his brother, loving our band, grew up on our band, and playing it in the barracks for all of his friends and fellow troops. And then sadly, he was killed by an IED. And I got a call from the military saying, "Hey, did you write that song, 'Come Back Home'?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, we'd like to use it in the military for a montage of a video the military is putting out on all the people, all the troops we lost in the
Oh,
first half
wow.
of that year." So that song like started off as just like one little idea about some people that I met in Greenland, and it became this huge thing. Um, Very meaningful for people. Not huge, like it's in a big hit, but it meant a lot to a lot of people, and it just kept snaking its way into other people's lives. And now I hear from troops that are like, "My husband's overseas, and we listen to that song all the time." And you know, it's you would know it's about the military, unless you really listened to and you knew the backstory. But it's yeah, that's I have a few songs that are like that. Um, but yeah, it's not always the heavy ones. The lighthearted ones can get more fun musically at shows where you can really like stretch them out. And it's interesting thing, as I just came from shooting baskets with my 11-year-old. I used to play basketball, and as a 52-year-old, I'm a lot worse at basketball than I was as a 22-year-old. And at guitar, I'm a lot better at 52 than I was at 22. So it's like instruments can be your best friends your whole life, all the way to your one foot in the grave. And I think that the live versions of these songs that I first wrote, where I would have just played, the most basic version of E, A, F, and D, and or B rather. Look at me telling the wrong chords. And then now I've just learned a lot of different ways to play those songs by myself to keep them interesting, or play them with other musicians where I'm not in the way. We're all not doing what we did in college, where we all strum the same position of the same chord, saying the same thing. It's like I'm always a fan of like the song that we're playing is this the song is right now. This is the song. They're fluid. When movies are done, they're done. It's like that is it. The final version, and I'm sure there's lots of people out there that work on films that are like, "God, I wish I could have changed that or this," and they can't do it. I feel sorry for them. So that like, "Oh man, it's done." Like we have recorded versions of our songs, but I get to go out and play them every night and turn it into something else. Um, that's tough for like even comedians. They
Sure.
lock into their show and then that's it. They can work it a little bit in the comedy clubs before they make their special, but it's a tough one.
And does interacting with the audience make you or help you make that decision on the spot on how you might change a song? Do you do it? I mean, are you doing it
Oh,
in the moment based on crowd interaction or?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. And really what the conversation, that's what I was saying, that like I'm trying to teach my daughter who's got a little band in college, and all these kids, they practice their part they're playing cover songs. So they've learned the part off the record. And that's all fine and good that you all learn these parts. And then you get into this room and play that song. But now you're five people playing your interpretation and your practice version of whatever that song might be. And the version that you need to learn is the one that's happening all together. It's a different song. it's the same song, but it's like you got to work together to make it happen. So like when I listen to my drummer do something different, or my keyboard player play a different part, I'm like, oh, let's go down that road. Let's take a right. Oh, let's go down here. Oh, we're stuck in this cul-de-sac. Let's get on out of here and go over here. Like, and that's from listening to the Dead and the Almonds and all that jam music that I just love how it changes all the time. And it's not the same. I really, I've played Rebecca seriously 10,000 times and I'm never sick of it. It's only 4 chords and it's always fun. Never is I can create something new. We just did a 3-week tour. I played it every night and every single one of them was different. Sometimes we open the show with it. Sometimes I play it as an encore. Sometimes we go into it for a moment from another song and I don't know. It's you got to find the inspiration live, So a guy like me, it's a studio recording. When that red light goes on, it is not as exciting as it's well, it was not exciting when I first started. Now it's a little bit more because I'm better at my instrument. But when I first started making records, man, that was terrifying. It's like, well, we're a band that plays things different every time. Why are we going to record one version? So your goal is to maybe make the version like you're still like listening to Shine. That makes me very happy.
So how do you decide which version? I mean, do you as a band, you argue? It's like, I like this one and this guy likes this one. And I mean, how do you make that decision when you go in?
Well,
or is that a label?
No, it's never
no.
Back in the day, maybe a label for a quick moment, maybe a producer would weigh in on let's crank this one up. Let's make it a little bit more aggressive. Let's play a little quicker. Is it believable? Like when I'm playing the song, does it feel like something that's natural to me? Because if it's not natural to Pat McGee of the Pat McGee Band, then why are we recording it? Because it's not the Traveling Wilburys. It's not, CSNY. I'd love to be in a band like that because I would love to be able to sign off, be like, if this is your tune, I will add to your song. Nothing makes me happier to step in the back because I've been in the front for the entire time. So I would love to, every once in a while, I get a chance to sit in with other bands. I'm like, this is a dream. I just get to sit in the back and like play little parts, hopefully add to the song and maybe have them go, that was cool. Never heard that before. So.
Well, I want to ask you something else. We had Richard Stumpf on the show. He used to manage Van Halen and
Wow.
he's really, really fun guy. And he was talking about, the importance of catalogs. I guess I don't know a whole lot about this, but he was talking about how there's just so much money behind buying and selling catalogs and how, the classic catalogs have all been bought and sold. And so they're always looking for new things. So I guess my question to you as an artist, do you think about things like that, or like a collection of songs in any way?
Yeah.
Does that affect how you write, or is that
Yeah.
come into it?
I don't know that it affects how I write, but it definitely makes me always feel like, I've approached every record, not to sound cocky, but it's like we're still an independent band. I felt like an independent band even when we were on Warner Brothers. We sold our own music for so long, and now we're back to doing that again, which is selling music as a joke. But we're sharing music. I've never felt like we recorded a song and I was like, God, we just need like a 9th track. We have enough on the record, but we need one more song to like fill in the time stamp to get to 32 minutes. I've always felt like every song meant a lot. So yeah, that's the catalog and I'm proud of the catalog. That's why I go, oh man, I hope somebody at some point goes, I'm making this film and I ran across your band and you have this one sound. And I'm sure it would be like the weirdest thing ever. It'd be some deep cut off the 7th album. I'm like, you found that song? Cool. Well, there's like 112 more songs that are kind of like that. And I'm sure people that all they do is write for movies. They have files and files and files on their hard drives of what do you want it to be? A dark vibe with a BPM of 89? Oh, I got 10 dozen of those. Whereas, I think the catalog is important. I'm a fan of, I have, vinyl records sitting here. I got the catalog of the Grateful Dead, the catalog of the Allman Brothers. Hell, I think the catalog of the B-52s is pretty awesome. And by the time we get to Love Shack, you're like, oh, people don't realize they had all these other cool albums before that thing came out.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, it's an important thing. I think it's what keeps fans. I feel so fortunate that I got in right before Napster came out, right when Shine was being demoed. I remember I wrote a song for Shine, and someone in my band said, "Have you ever heard of Napster?" I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And it ended up being this, what we all know Napster to be. And someone at Warner Brothers had leaked the song out of the demo, not
Oh,
even the
wow.
real version. And I felt robbed. I was like, "What? What do you mean they heard it?" Because I wasn't, like I said, a demo guy. So to me, this is something my band member has. I wrote the song in LA with another guy. No one's even heard it in the band. I couldn't wait to bring the CD home. I couldn't email a file. I didn't know how to do that. So I was like, "You guys already heard the song? How?" So I feel fortunate that I created a fan base before that, because they weren't a fan of one song. We did not have a hit song in the sense that people only come to hear one song, because I think my career would have been over 20 years ago. People love certain records for certain reasons.
Yeah.
Depends on when they showed up for the band. Yeah.
It's interesting.
But, yeah.
Well, before we wrap up, I know
Yeah.
you're putting a new album together.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of your old buddies back playing
Yeah.
together. Tell me about that, and when can we expect to hear that?
Well, yeah, I mean, the original Pat McGee Band is a fluid thing that just keeps going in different places. They all live all over the country. We all do. No one lives in Virginia anymore, which is crazy. But some of the guys will play on some of the records. Some of the guys won't. We did an official reunion album called Sugar Packet. That was the last record, which to me is like Shine Part 2.
Gotcha.
I was very proud of that record. And it does sound, because it's the same band. It's amazing when you just put the same musicians in the room and hit record. It's like, geez, 25 years later, we sound the same. So that was kind of cool, you know. But like I said, I'm working on this new thing that's more in my heart of hearts. I feel like it's an acoustic record, which I know fans will dig. I call it an acoustic record. There'll be drums, bass, and keys and all that stuff, but it'll feel like original Pat McGee Band acoustic. When we went into Shine, we were worried, like, don't get too electric. People will freak out. Even though I love to play electric guitar, but my thing is acoustic, and I've always sort of comfortable holding it, playing it, writing on it. So, end of the year, hopefully I'll be in the studio making a new album, and I'll do a crowdsourcing, Kickstarter type thing to make it achievable, because there's, nowadays musicians only have like one day to sell all their records. It's a crowdsourcing thing. So if you get a big chunk of money, that's the end of it. If you're going to I remember ordering a couple thousand CDs, and that would have lasted a weekend back in the 90s. Now that's like 5 years. Wow. If you can sell 1,000 CDs, people don't even want them anymore. So, that's how I look at these crowdsourcing things. Like, let's get it all in one 30-day stretch, and then make it last till the next record. And get on the road and play. It's always about getting on the road and playing. So I'm out on the road. If you go to patmcgee.net, you'll see that and as my son has grown a little bit older, I've been on the road more lately, which is great. Because I took a lot of time off, which was, I don't regret a single second of it, but it's nice to be back on the road playing.
So tell us again, for people who want to keep track on what you're doing, the website again was patmcgee.net?
It's, patmcgee.net, MCGEE, patmcgee.net. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram at Pat McGee Band. I always forget which one is what, but you can find me out there.
Well, very good.
It's all out there, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it was a pleasure chatting with you, and circle back, when you get that campaign going and work on that next album, circle back, we'll chat again.
Oh, I would love that. If you know anybody in the film business, let's get some songs placed.
Hey, I will do what I can.
I mean, at this point, I'm just like, that'd be cool just to hear it, whatever. I don't care about the money, man. It's like, I just love to hear it. I think people be like, is that the band I heard in college in that new movie? What the hell? That would be amazing.
That would be cool. I would love that.
Yeah, man. Cool.
All right, man. Well, you take care. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, buddy.
This episode is sponsored by Gemini Crown Tech, owned and operated by Stephanie Moore and Stephanie Harrison. We at Gemini Crown Tech have covered all your production management needs with our proprietary software. Please visit our website at www.geminicrowntech.com and use the code FMP for Filmmaker Mixer podcast listeners, so we know how you heard about us.
Thank you for listening to the Filmmaker Mixer podcast, a podcast created and hosted by filmmakers Jeff Stolen and Andrew Lamping, and produced by Melody Lopez.
Our theme song was composed by Stephen D. Bennett.
Make sure to follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on, and stay tuned for future episodes.